brothers. We're happy and we're singing and we're colored. Give me a high five.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, here with my brother from another big game, James. It's another episode of Best of Enemies. Now, before I ask you how you doing, because I already know how you doing, but I want to say to the chat, all right, we gonna talk our talk. Today is gonna be probably a little bit heated. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. We still friends.
I'm gonna give you your props. I'm gonna give you your props. Hey,
But
you got.
let's keep it.
I'm gonna keep you got me a little probably thinking about what the most of the Cowboys gonna yell at, but I'm gonna give you another turn and give you your props.
Hey, the Eagles are 2-0. The Cowboys are 1-0, probably looking at 2-0 today or tomorrow, excuse me. So it's a good time to be an NFC East fan. But what's going on, BGJ? What's going on, brother?
What's going on? Shout out to everybody. I'm on my phone today, so I'm not gonna be able to really respond to your comments like I usually do. So I apologize about that. But right now it's a good day. We're getting ready for this game tomorrow. We're looking to be 2-0 as well. So we're excited after our matching. I'm sure you guys are excited too. You guys are 2-0. Not a strong 2-0, but nevertheless, it's 2-0.
Hey, it's going. It feels good. I think the Eagles have a different kind of path than you guys had. Obviously, week one, you guys completely dominated the Giants, which thank you. I'm cool with that. I hate Giants too. So, but no, you guys obviously dominated. There's probably not too much negative. Obviously, the Eagles are kind of on the opposite spectrum. There's a lot of things that we want to clean up, but we've been able to win the game. So it's like, you know, as as funny as it might sound, a win is a win, right? It is what it is. I know we give each other, crap about that saying, but it is true. At the end of the day, you want to be able to go out there and you want to be able to win. But I want to kind of start with your Cowboys. I mean, because that was a very dominant win, right? And obviously, we got to see two games of the Eagles, so there's a little bit more tape on us. But what was your takeaway from that game? I mean, that was just, was it even a game? I mean, you guys just went out there and killed them.
As I said before, people didn't understand that even though we had a 10-game win streak against the Giants, now 11, even though we had that win streak, those games weren't blowouts. It's not like we're beating them like 30-7, 28-3. I think last year was like 30, 34-28, and I mean, those games were like only like by a touchdown, and we weren't pulling away from the Giants until like usually till the third, fourth quarter in those games. So the Giants always played us competitive, and I thought that game was going to be a tough game. There was some matchups I was looking at, especially in that driving rain. I thought, let's look at some matchups that I wanted. Was I worried about the Giants? No. Did I know we were going to win? Yes, but I just thought it was going to be a tougher game than it was. And they came out early, right? That first drive, they were moving the ball and they were feeling good about themselves. But hey, turnovers can change the game. You saw what happened in that Patriots game. You saw what happened in your Vikings game. One of the reasons why you won both of those games was because you won the turnover battle. They had a lot of turnovers. You capitalized on them. Next thing you know, the game is over. So once that block field goal started and you run it back for a touchdown, it really, we already knew we were going to win. But when you get that early, it kind of like just sets your defense. If you just watched our defense, it was on fire right after that. We were like animals. We were just wanting to get after Daniel Jones every single play. And then when you got a guy like Michael Parsons, who I done told you about, who's going to be one of the best players in the league for the next 4 or 5 years, leading that triumph, it was just pressure after pressure. Everybody was getting in. And, it felt really good to blow them out because people were talking about the Giants. Oh, the Giants going to upset the Cowboys. Oh, this is the new Giants. They're talking stuff everywhere. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Giants 28-24. Your Giants going to show you. And then all of a sudden they get smashed.
Yeah, they
And
got.
that Dobble and all this. He's ranked in the preseason for Moss Tucker, really eighth. Co-head coach better than McCarthy 21. He's 0-3 against you, dog. So it was a lot of disrespect to me as a coach for Mike McCarthy. It was a lot of disrespect for him. They got a lot of coaches up there that ain't did nothing that are above him. And so I like that beat down that he got because it was basically letting him know that, you know what, we got a pretty good team and you guys are going to have a good year. I think the Giants going to have a good year, Joe. But guess what? We're the better team than the children. I like it.
Yeah, well, the Giants have a big test this week, which is sad to say, against the Cardinals. I believe they're playing, if I'm not mistaken. They got to win that game. If they lose that game, I think all hope is out of the window. People are going to start really looking at this team. I do like Dabble. I've said that before. I said before the game, there's not much of a chance for them to actually beat you. I didn't think that it would be that crazy. I definitely did not think it was going to be that big of a blowout. But at the end of the day, I mean, there are, looking at the Eagles, there are a lot of, I'm seeing people saying a lot of improvement to and oh, yes, there is a lot of an improvement that the Eagles need to make. There's things that aren't looking good, and mainly Jalen Hurts. I mean, we can be 100% honest here. Has he been absolutely garbage? No, but he's definitely not looked like himself. I will say that. Whether it's the decision making, whether it's the just impulse decision. It's just not him. The interception, that's not how he plays. There's just a lot of things that is just like, what's going on? What's really happening? And I think that it also does stem from the run game. We saw last game, we were able to, get that run game finally going, and our offense looked totally different. We need to get our quarterback comfortable. We need to get this offense comfortable because we started the year out just trying to throw the ball 55. It just didn't make sense. That's just not who we are. That's never been who we are. So I'm cool with needing some improvement, but we're 2-0. If you want to struggle, this is the time to struggle. That's that's definitely where I'm at.
I
But shout
mean,
out. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, I mean, no, you go ahead. No, no, I'll finish.
He was getting ready. He was already ready. No, shout out to everybody in the chat already, man. Look, we gonna get into this. We're gonna talk about this. I know it's gonna probably, get heated a little bit, but we're gonna talk about it, and we're gonna try and figure out what's going on. But the first question I want to ask, based on the two games that we've seen, at least, I want to know, if I could pull it up. I want to know who's your biggest surprise player so far.
Um, for my team or teams in general.
Well, for your team.
Okay, so my surprise player for our week one, I'm gonna say Wanye Thomas.
Mm.
Mark, can I put two people in there, please?
You could put two people.
Okay, I want to do two people. I'm gonna do Wanye Thomas, and I'm gonna do Marquise Bell. Those are my two surprise players. They're playing with their hair on fire, dog. Especially Wanye Thomas. You really have to go back and listen to his story. I think you have to listen to his story. His family um, is. He says, "Why am I mic?"
Ah,
No,
there we go. That's way better.
you have to really listen to his story, dog. Like his house burned down. I mean, his mother, they came from serious poverty. It's crazy, and just to really see him sitting on the number one, the practice squad all last year, and you really didn't even know about him, and he was undrafted to come in the way he did. He was going crazy all preseason. He put himself on the 53-man roster with his preseason play. He was already the darling of the preseason, and to come right in week one, get a special teams block. He was all over the field. He's making Dan Quinn keep him on that field. We got Donovan Wilson coming back at the safety position. He's our dog. We just re-signed him to the big contract, so he has a place. But now you're looking at Wanye Thomas, and he saw Marquise Bell move to that linebacker role that they were talking about, DeMarvion Overshown. He was our young rookie that we were talking about playing that hybrid role like the Jaron Curse and also Donovan Wilson. He gets hurt, so they're like, okay, let's move Marquise Bell down there. You already know about Marquise Bell.
Yeah.
Me and you already talked about him. He came in there he was our leading tackler. He was physical. He was meeting guys at the point of attack. He hit one guy and knocked the ball out of his hands. I mean, they were just playing everywhere, dog. So those are my two surprise players, and they're on the defense, and they're safeties. And we got that's the reason why we kept six safeties in our backfield because we got a great rotation and they can do a lot of things. But those two young guys are my um, surprise players for the Cowboys.
If you guys want to send on over a safety, we wouldn't be mad. We are definitely in need of a safety right now.
We like our safeties. I mean, I'm feeling good about those safeties. And then, we talked about we'll talk about it, but those two guys, surprise players, and I can't wait to see what they're going to continue to bring to the defense.
Yeah, I mean, we have talked about Marquise Bell. I think one of my subscribers either knew him or something like that. But either way, that was a guy that I definitely had my eye on, before the draft and everything. Awesome to see him getting some play time, Terrible to see him getting some playtime for the Cowboys, and even worse to see him doing well for the Cowboys. But it is what it is, you know. As far as the Eagles, man, you know, there's a couple guys. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, Reed Blankenship has looked really, really good. I mean, obviously he was injured last game, but in his first game, he looked really, really good. But I'm gonna say probably one of our linebackers. I'm gonna say Anthony Morrow. I think that, you know, look, not Anthony Morrow. I don't know why I always say Anthony Morrow. That's a basketball player. Nicholas Morrow. I always say Anthony. I don't know why.
Like that.
I don't know why I always say that Anthony Morrow, but Nicholas Morrow has looked real good. I mean, we obviously didn't start him in the first game. We called him up because of injury to Nakobe Dean. He's able to get a fumble recovery. He just felt like he was always there. He sniffed out a couple of screen plays. He was able to stop some short passes. So it looked like he knew what he was doing, which I can't say that for, you know, really Zach Cunningham in the first game. And Jordan and Nakobe Dean looked good in the first game. But yeah, I would say Nicholas Morrow looked really good. And I would say Jordan Davis. I know somebody just said it in the chat, but it's not that he's eating up gaps. And that's what we all knew he could do. We all knew that, you know, he was going to be a force when it came to the run game. It's the fact that he has been in that backfield consistently. Like, I mean, that boy has made some plays, and not even all the plays are going to be on your stat sheet, right? You know, like the pressures don't necessarily end up on the box score, but the stuff he's been doing, from the fumble that he caused to just getting in Kirk Cousins' face over and over yesterday. You've seen a lot of, or not yesterday, Thursday. You've seen a lot of good things from him. And something that I talked about on our morning show was that he straight up said he's getting into his mind that he's more than just a gap eater, more than just a run stuffer. He knows that he can be more, and that's scary. That's very, very scary if he can continuously do that. So, I mean, I would have to say Jordan Davis. You know, yeah, people are saying Jalen Carter's, but I'm not really surprised by him playing great football.
The only surprise about that is they let him fall nine spots.
Exactly. That's really the only surprise that's there.
That's going to be going down as one of the dumbest moves in a very long time.
Yeah, he's an animal. He's an absolute animal. And I don't really see anybody that got picked ahead of him looking all that great. So maybe that's, you know, me being a little, homerish, but you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. But
I'm gonna give him his props, not to cut you off, and I'm gonna give, I seen Davis push in that pocket as well when you're talking about the Vikings that game. Now we gonna talk about that secondary, because that secondary been getting cooked up a little bit.
Secondary been looking bad.
But that front line, especially Jordan Davis, y'all been wanting to see what he can do year two. So definitely with that size, he's able to move guys, and he's trying to come in there and make pass rushing and get sacks. I mean, that's going to be something tough. But yeah, there shouldn't be no surprise with Jalen Carter. He definitely could be. He's in the running for Defensive Player of the Year, in my opinion.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Rookie of the Year, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he easily should be, especially that, you know, we'll see what happens. Obviously, there's a lot of football left. You know, if you can continue this, though, I think that there's no way you don't, you know what I'm saying, give him the Defensive Rookie of the Year already. In his first 2 weeks, I think he's over like 13 pressures, which is just insane. Like, it's just crazy.
You can't deny that. Like I said, you may not like your team, you feel me, may not like your squad, but you can't deny talent. And that guy he's going to be the truth for a very long time.
Yeah. And I mean, you bring up our secondary, which I do want to talk about because I know that's a point of contention. I know a lot of people have been talking about our secondary, which fair enough. They haven't looked great. I will say this. There's two things I will say. No excuses, just reasoning, and reasoning why I feel confident that they'll get it together at some point. Obviously no Bradbury last game. Obviously no Reed Blankenship last game. Avonte Maddox got hurt as well. But you have a lot of young guys out there that are just miscommunicating. And that's realistically what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of miscommunication, whether it's even Darius Slay is to blame on some of it. These guys just haven't played enough together, in my opinion. And it goes back to the preseason where you want to get these guys some live action reps. They didn't get them. I think that you're seeing a maturation. You're seeing them get better. And Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, who's been playing well in the first 2 weeks, that's not an easy task. To put Josh Jobe out there on Jordan Addison his first game, that's not easy to do. So definitely am a little bit concerned in the fact that they haven't been playing great and they have been miscommunicating a lot. But at the same time, I do feel like it's something that can be fixed. I feel like it's something that we will see fixed, you know. And I also put it on the offense as well. The offense is not taking their time on their drives. You know, it's a whole thing. I think it's like a whole thing. But the Eagles will get it together. I'm not really too worried about it. But I know a lot of people are going to talk about it, and you know, it is what it is. I really don't care.
I mean, obviously, I heard a few people in the chat saying, "Oh, shout out to everybody that's in the chat for real." You know, like I said, I'm on my phone, so I can't be able to respond to you or type to you. So what's good? Keep on getting in there, hit the like button, share, all that good stuff. But the fact is, yeah, y'all had leads, so guys, you know how it is. Guys gonna throw their way back in the game. But if you look at that game consistently in that Vikings game, they didn't really have any run game. You see how much they're missing Dalvin Cook. That was a mistake on my part for them doing that. So Kirk Cousins though was still handily throwing the ball on you guys. I mean,
He
hitting
was.
the crossing routes, Justin Jefferson with him, and you guys really got saved by the turning point of the game when he reached out and made that fumble because that would have made it 14-10 in that game, and then that's a whole different game. You guys come back down and score a field goal that changes the whole complexity of that game. But even then, they were moving the ball pretty well in through the air. And even when we saw the New England Patriots, Mac Jones, I mean, we're not scared of saying he's like the greatest thrower and killing you in the passing game. But the fact is, they were carving you up with receivers that we didn't know about. So to me, that's something that you're definitely going to have to keep your eye on, especially when you get teams that have multiple receivers that have good receiver sets. It's going to be a deal. So that you're really going to have to rely on that front because you already got N'Kobe Dean, who we talked about, who's already often injured and is more potential than anything else. We those linebackers can be exploited, and we're seeing that. So if you guys really don't get that pass rush going, guys going to cook up and be able to move up and down the field on that secondary.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely and shout out to Sean Desai because Sean Desai, he, you know, the first game didn't make the greatest of changes or didn't really make the adjustments he needed to in halftime. But second game, I feel like he did. Again, yes, they were definitely moving the ball on us. A couple of those plays, two of those big plays, you could kind of look at and just be like the penalties were kind of funny. A couple of things that they did were kind of funny, but yeah, no, they're moving the ball. It is what it is. I can't really, sit here and hate on it. They put over 300 yards on us, so that's not what you want to see in the air. That's definitely not what you want to see in the air. So yeah, I mean, play calling has to be better on both sides, but I'm confident in this team. I really don't think. I think what we're doing right now is more sustainable than, if we were to just go out there and just blow teams out because you're not learning anything about your team. We're the team that everybody wants to beat. We're going to get 110% of every team that we play. They're going to come at us 110%. So if we're going to struggle, I'd rather struggle now. You know what I'm saying? That's really where I'm at. I'd rather learn and obviously win. I mean, if you can win while you're struggling, even better. But if you're going to struggle and learn, do it now. Don't do it, in a couple weeks and at the end of the next month or whatever. Don't do it in the playoffs. Do it now. Learn what you need to get better at right now. And I think the Eagles are doing that while they're still winning. So I'm not too worried about it. I know you guys are happy about y'all win, and that's cool.
Can we talk about since I mean I think it's a little overblown as far as wordplay, but can we talk about this AJ Brown sideline thing? I mean,
Oh yeah.
you're Eagles guy. What's going on with that? Does Brown want the ball all the time? Is he getting mad because Devontae Smith is eating, or what's going on with that?
I'm glad you bring this up because I wanted to talk to you about this anyways, because we have a juxtaposition of views, right? We have like, you're one of the more old school guys when it comes to football. I'm kind of more in this new generation, I guess. But I think it's funny, and I will answer, but I think it's funny that a lot of people will talk about, AJ Brown going crazy or Nick Sirianni going crazy on that. I mean, this is stuff I'm used to. When I played, you can go all the way to Pee Wee to high school. I didn't play in college, but you can talk about high school. I mean, we've gotten mad. Why am I not in there? Why am I not making the plays? I will say to defend AJ Brown, because a lot of people are calling him a diva and saying this and that. There was times that he was wide open and Jalen Hurts just did not see him. So I understand the frustration. I definitely do. I think it's, like you said, got way overblown, and especially from Philly media. Some Philly people, and I love my Eagles fans. I love all my people, but sometimes we run headfirst into a brick wall for no reason. Like this is not something to be mad about. We won the game. We know Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown are like best friends. We know this. Like, you know what I'm saying? People are gonna argue, just like me and you argue all the time, right? People are going to argue. That's what happens. He's going to get upset. He's going to want to make plays. He's a top 10 wide receiver in this league. If he didn't want the ball, I would be more worried. If he was just sitting there like, oh, whatever, you know, I would be a little bit worried. Like, bro, you don't want to play. I mean, look at Chase Claypool. Chase Claypool is pretending he don't know how to play football anymore. I'm glad that we don't have that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that you bring it up because I think it's ridiculous. And I think that it's sad that most of it is coming from Eagles people. Like it really is. Most of it's coming from Eagles fans or Eagles reporters. And it's like, bro, why? We did this earlier. We did this in the offseason. People, reporters kept on asking AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, like, who's better? Who's the wide receiver one? Do you guys have, you know, do you guys like have competition? Like, why are you guys trying to start something that's not there? You know what I mean? It makes no sense. So I'm not worried about it at all. I like it. If anything, I like seeing Nick Sirianni yelling at Sean Desai on the sideline. I like all that. Like we have bigger goals. We want to be a Super Bowl team. And to be a Super Bowl team, you have to fix every mistake. And sometimes it's going to look like anger. Sometimes it's going to look like, you know, sadness. Sometimes it's going to look like happiness. It's going to look a whole bunch of different ways. As long as at the end of the day, you get a win, I'm cool with it. One thing I didn't like about that situation, and I'm not mad about it, but I didn't necessarily like it because he had an opportunity to squash it after the game. He wasn't in the locker room when reporters were allowed in. AJ Brown left.
Right.
So I didn't like that. And
yeah, because that right there, if it's nothing, what you do is you just squash it because but also obviously he probably like, man, I ain't trying to talk to these dudes. You feel me? So I see both ends of it. He's probably in his head like, man, I ain't trying to talk to these dudes. They're gonna be all in my face. We ain't gonna talk about the game. All they're gonna talk about is me talking to Jalen. And I just don't want to deal with that and hear all that noise. So that's I can see him doing that and saying I don't want to deal with no reporters. But at the same time, I can see where you're coming from, where you'd be like, man, it wasn't nothing. But you're not going to talk about the game. Every single question is going to be about that. And it's going to get frustrating because you can't talk about the game because the reporter's going to be, hopefully they can get a scoop. Hopefully they can get something they can put in the papers. So it's just going to be very annoying. So that's why he probably walked out. I think the next time what he should do is when they do interview him the next time and they're going to ask him again, you feel me? Now he'll be more in a level-headed mind. He'll be like, man, that's nothing. I want the ball. Who doesn't? I'm a receiver. Receivers want the ball. Who doesn't want the ball? And that's all it is.
That's my thing. Yeah. And like you said, you're 100% right with him not wanting to talk to reporters because it's happened time and time again. You know, AJ Brown even said at one of his press conferences, I think you need to just enjoy having both of us while you do. Like, and that's it. Like, just we have two really good wide receivers. Sometimes somebody's going to be upset because they're not getting the ball. I'm sure Dallas Goedert is upset that he's not that big of a part of the team right now. It is what it is. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think a lot of people are just bored. That's you know what I'm saying. People just want something to talk about. It is. I really don't. It's nothing to me. But like you said, I think it is that he just didn't want to talk to the media because they just blow everything up and they forget the main purpose of why you're there. Like you're there to get the Eagles fans coverage about the game, get insight on the game. Not nobody cares what they were arguing about. I mean, realistically, and I loved how Nick Sirianni, went back at it because Nick Sirianni straight up said he was like, listen, it's none of y'all business what they were talking about. It's literally none of y'all business what we were talking about. And I know you shared it and you're like, it was you or either you or Rome. I forget who, but I like that he didn't want to tell him.
No, I don't share none. I ain't sharing none of y'all stuff. Feel me?
So it's probably Rome. It was probably Rome.
I ain't sharing y'all stuff. Y'all ain't worth me sharing stuff from y'all. And I don't want to have no Eagle stuff on my page sharing that stuff. I don't want to share nothing.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you a question. How sustainable is it for Dak Prescott to be throwing for like 45 yards a game? Do you think what?
Your man is only averaging 6.5 yards a pass play and only 181 yards a game. What you talking about?
I mean, he got a couple touchdowns already. He got, he's out there winning games. I'm just saying, I just want to know because Dak,
he out there. We was in rainstorms. We was in tsunamis. You feel me?
We were in a rainstorm the first game too.
Yeah, but I seen y'all's game, but your rain was not the rain that was in New York. No, it was not. It was
Y'all have
not.
different rain in Dallas. Yeah.
In New York, dog. You feel me? And did you see that game? It was way pouring more than it was. It was raining in your game, but there's different sets of rain, and you know it. And at the end of the day, you see, still stupid. What 145 was going to be a bad day. It was rain. You didn't. We still scored like 25 points or 26 points offensively. We were 4 or 5 in the red zone. We didn't have to sit there and throw the ball everywhere because when you have a rainstorm like that, why not run it? We ran for 116 yards, average over 4 yards carry. So we were definitely okay with that. And when we made plays, when we had to, CeeDee Lamb had 4 catches for 77 yards, had the big 45-yard pass and catch. So we're feeling pretty good. Like I said, your guy's only averaging 181 yards. He's averaging out of his 30, I believe, attempts, 12 of his attempts are rushing attempts. So he's half and half as far as passing and rushing. And when you keep your guy in the pocket, that's why AJ Brown was mad because he's missing and not seeing guys open because you got to sit there and make them in that pocket. And that's what the Vikings did. They had 5 sacks. Danielle Hunter, who was in my top 10 pass rushers, had 3 sacks on his own. Keep your guy in the pocket, make him throw the ball. And it looks like he's a little suspect and taking a little too long. So what you talking about, Willis?
All jokes aside, where was he going to throw it? Like realistically, there was eight guys in coverage every single play. That to me, that was on the offensive coordinator, and to his credit, he changed up the game plan when he had to. But to me, that's on the offensive coordinator. You see that they are literally dropping 8 back almost every single play. Like they're giving you the run. They're literally giving you the run. So to me, I know a lot of people will look at, I know a lot of people will look at his numbers and be like, oh, they don't trust Jalen. But at the end of the day, I think that's the defenses showing respect to Jalen. Have they dropped back 8 on Dak Prescott?
I don't know if they're sitting there saying we respect Jalen. I sit there saying let's make Jalen throw. I don't know about that. I'm gonna have to disagree with that. I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm gonna have to disagree with that one. I don't think it's an aspect of they respecting Jalen Hurts more in the passing game. I think they're respecting his running ability, and that's why you see the defenses the way they are, trying to close him in that pocket and try to push that pocket in the middle and make him make those throws.
But
They
they weren't
still
even doing that. They weren't even doing that. They were literally rushing like 3 or 4, if that, and they were dropping 8 in coverage.
You're talking about that Vikings game, but they weren't doing that in
They
that
were doing
Patriots.
that in the Patriots game as well. Yes, they were. They were very similar defenses. That's what I'm saying. Like they were literally dropping back 8 people in coverage. I'm not saying every single play. There were definitely plays that Jalen Hurts had opportunities and missed them. I'm not making excuses for that. But I will say that what are you like realistically, there's not much you can do when they're dropping that many people back in coverage. They literally were dropping their whole team back in coverage. There was times where and yes, Jalen Hurts has to be able to, and that's why I said he has to be a little bit more decisive when he wants to, when you see that, especially if you see that pre-snap, understand what they're giving you. Check to a run play, check to something. But at the same time, it's like I can't blame him that he's not throwing the ball into 7 different people. And see Burleson, you can watch the film for you. Like I have no reason to lie. Like I really don't. I understand that Jalen Hurts has to get better, but there are reasonings behind why the passing game has been so hard to get to because they're just trying to take it away. So to me, that's like respect. To me, that's like, hey, we don't want this man to get over the top. We don't, because that's a good thing and a bad thing about our offense is that we want those big plays. We want to get over the top, and that's what they're trying to take away. So I mean, I see the optics from the outside, but to me, that's respect to Jalen Hurts. That's saying, bro, we don't want you to throw it over top. That's to me. That's to me.
Well, maybe it is to you. I just feel like Wayne, they ain't really scared of y'all throwing over top. They did a couple of busted covers where you had Devontae Smith get those touchdowns because it looked like they weren't in that right coverage. But at the end of the day, I still feel like they fear that run game, and they're fearing that what Jalen can do when he gets outside of that pocket, and that's when he can really do his damage. So they're sitting there, we're going to sit in coverage and make you make these throws in this complex coverage because Belichick throws complex. He doesn't just go in coverage. He tries to throw complex coverages to confuse you. So they're going to try to do that to see if you're going to make that mistake. And right now, he's taking what the defense is giving him, throwing underneath and throwing the short game, and now you started to do the run game. I'm not mad at that. People are acting like I wasn't mad at that, or people are saying they were mad or talking trash how you guys
didn't trust Hurts and y'all went more to the run game. I don't think that. I just feel like you guys were hot in the run game. And if you're hot, go with something hot. Don't try to go away and force something and try to prove to the world that I'm a throwing quarterback and we can throw the ball. And that's when you make mistakes. You take what the defense gives you, and if you can run on them, then run all day. I'm not mad at that theory and what happened in that game against Minnesota, but I'm still going to disagree with you and saying that guys are sitting there thinking that Jalen Hurts is just going to kill you with the arm game. They're going to go in coverage to see if he can make those throws.
Who led the NFL in explosive plays last year? I believe
That's
it was
last,
the Eagles.
that's last year.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying that the last year you look at last year's tape with Jalen Hurts, he made a lot of explosive plays. So I mean, to me, if you're not, I don't think they were focusing on the run game. It looked like the total opposite. It looked like they wanted us to run.
Bro, your fans are so biased, bro.
Why? What they said?
They just be biased, bro. Like,
Yours too. Some of your people ain't making no sense. I'm gonna be real with you.
I was my guy in here. I can't remember his name. He's funny. He's funny. He's like different rain. I didn't say different rain. You've been in different rain. There's lighter rain and then there's harder rain. Like, how do you not understand what I'm talking about? You feel what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, no, I said different rate. I was trolling. I was talking junk. That was me. I was talking junk. I ain't gonna
what are you
lie.
talking about?
But no, it upsets me because there's some people in here saying that they stacked the box. They didn't. They really didn't. The Eagles like literally had nobody. They literally
No,
had
they
the
didn't
run
stack
game
the box.
open.
I didn't say they stacked the box. What I'm saying is when he was in the pass game, when they rushed, they were rushing outside, trying to push him inside that pocket so he can make
Yeah.
those decisions within the pocket. I didn't say that they were sending aid and blitzing him and doing things like that. No, they were in coverage, but what they were trying to do was those fronts. They were trying to rush him outside, push him inside, and have that push in that middle to where he's got to make those decisions in that passing game with that coverage because hopefully you're wanting him to make that mistake.
I mean, I get that. I definitely get that. I think the Eagles they have to have learned from these first two games, and 10 days is just way too long for me to wait for this next game. But it's going to be out here in Tampa, so I'm most likely going to be at the game. If anybody watching this wants to give me a ticket for free, I'll love you forever. But you know what I'm saying? Them Tampa Bay tickets are ridiculous.
Man, shoot, we play the Chargers out in Cali. My birthday is the day after October 16th, just to let you know. So if you want to throw any donation,
You know
there
what
it
I'm
is.
saying? Help us get, help my dog get out there.
You feel me?
But
October 16th, we play the Chargers October 16th, Calamore Bowl. Just throwing it out there.
oh, that would be a good one. That would be a good one. So I want to ask you this because now that we're talking about kind of what happened the first 2 weeks, obviously Eagles fans were talking junk to Cowboys fans talking junk to Eagles fans, talking about what team is more sustainable, what way of winning is more sustainable. But I want to ask you, and I'll answer as well. I want to know, all right. I want us to answer this question. My team is on the right path because I did hear, and obviously I know a lot of Cowboys content creators and a couple of y'all reporters, and I think it was I think it might have been Isha or something like that, said that 96% of fans feel like you guys are on the right path. So I want to ask you why you feel the Cowboys are on the right path, and I'll tell you why my Eagles are on the right path.
We're on the right path because we have one mind, one thought. We got all that Jason Garrett, Scott Linehan, Kellen Moore stuff out of here. It's gone. And you can see the difference. I mean, people forget that Dak Prescott did call the last preseason game. He called that game himself. Mike McCarthy gave him the role of play caller, and he was the play caller. And so, in my opinion, people are gonna talk trash about Dak. I don't really care any longer, but he commanded that offense, even though he didn't throw great as far as in that rain. I felt he had total command of that offense. That's the first time when I was just really watching him like, okay, this is his offense. Like, this is his offense. And I like that because I've seen him go through Kellen Moore, Scott Linehan, and those guys, and it just didn't completely ever feel like his offense. And that really kind of bothered me. So my team is on the right path because my quarterback finally has his offense. He has full control of the offense. You can tell he has full control. And we can beat you, I feel like, in many ways. We can beat you running. We have the receiving threats, and our defense is on fire. So defense wins championships. So my team is definitely on the right path because number one, I feel like our defense is the best in the league. So if you have a defense like that,
that can control the game, it makes it a lot easier for your offense. And once again, we'll see when we play the Jets. We're going to be at home. We're not going to be in that rain. I definitely feel like Dak is going to have a way different game than he did in that Giants game beyond that rain. And people are going to see, but I don't want to talk about it. Just let them be about it and show up. But that's the reason why my team is on the right path. One mind of coaching. My quarterback has the offense. This is his offense, and I feel like our defense is the best in the league.
Your defense is the second best in the NFC East. I'll give y'all that. The second best in the NFC East. Go Birds.
You'll see this. You'll see again this Sunday.
I can't wait till we play. Hopefully everybody stays healthy.
You got quarterbacks going averaging over 300 yards a game against Mac Jones. And once again,
Dak averaging 140 a game, so we ain't got to worry about it.
Like I said, Jalen's only averaging 181 a game, only 40 yards ahead of him. So what are you even talking about?
He's averaging 1 win a week too. He's averaging 1 win a week. That's what I want to see.
Too, you feel me? And that defense is on fire. But like I said, we'll see. Y'all escaped number one both of them games. First game you really escaped because you're lucky your boy was out of bounds on that last pass on that fourth down. He got that first down because y'all was inside. He was inside that 10, and they still had I think like 15 seconds to go. So y'all really, really, really escaped that one because your boy choked up the ball and had the crucial fumble in the game to give the Patriots the ball back. To basically, if they would have won that game, that would have been another big fumble that your quarterback gave up to keep the Patriots in the game. Is that not correct?
What worries me is that the interceptions. If Jalen Hurts, he missed 3 games last year and led the league, or no, he missed 5 games last year and led the league in interception. Oh no, that was Dak Prescott. My bad. Yeah, no, I'm not too worried about the 2 turnovers. I think he'll be fine. I think he is pressing. I think that these 2 defenses, like I said, are something that he's not used to yet. And bad play calling, bad decision making. But at the end of the day, we good. You heard my girl. She laughed. But no, look, you have a super chat real quick. Get this lie off of my screen right here.
We'll say the first 2. You have to read it because I can't see it.
So it was from Tavis Banks.
Appreciate you.
He said $10 super chat, so your $10 holla. He said the first 2, New England and Minnesota, respected Jalen's legs more than his arm because they were coming. That's a bold-faced lie. Bold-faced lie. But hey, shout out to him. Thanks for the $10 super chat.
He's only averaging 181. He got a few turnovers already in these first 2 games through an interception in that last game. And as I said before, we're going to see where he continues because you're talking about Dak Prescott averaging 145, like I said, 181 from your guy. And obviously, he's completing, I believe, like 71% from the field as far as his passing game. But it seems like it's the short passing game, and you take chances when you can. So it seems like it's a more kind of conservative type thing going on. When it starts getting close, it starts getting conservative. So I think that's what I'm looking at, from my opinion, that whenever it starts getting real tight, y'all get real conservative, and there ain't no throwing. Then you're going to go to the read options, and then Jalen starts running the ball, and he's not throwing the ball. And am I wrong in that? Because
no, I will agree with you to a certain extent. To a certain, you are 100% right to a certain extent, though. But I don't put that on Jalen, and I don't put that on them not trusting Jalen. I think that the play calling, honestly, is just bad. The play calling was just bad. It was all over the place. They were trying to do the little cute little screens and little quick passes and the read options before they ever really got the run game going. So I agree with you. Yeah, there definitely needs to be. I put it on play calling though. I don't put it on we don't trust Jalen Hurts because Brian Johnson knows Jalen Hurts. If anybody knows Jalen Hurts is Brian Johnson. So I don't know why he would try to, what I'm saying, like try to stop it. I don't know.
You feel me? Because that's just what it seemed to me, that when the teams start getting close, then close to the vest, we're not going to throw it like that. We're going to throw the short game. We're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball with Jalen Hurts, and that's the way we're going to get out here with that win. That's what it's feeling like to me. People can say whatever they want in the chat, but that's what, and y'all QB draws or whatever. Yeah, I know y'all got them in the package, but when it gets close, that's when those really come out. And it's like people y'all Eagle fans just don't ever want to say those type of things. Like not none of y'all, and it just be really the truth what's really going on. Y'all just be blinded about your team, dog.
No, I agree that there was definitely some weird calls like that 3rd and 7 QB sneak, which wasn't a QB sneak. It was a QB counter. All right. I'm so tired of everybody calling it a QB sneak. I get it. Like everybody only knows QB sneak, but it was a QB counter. Still a stupid play. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't a QB sneak. We didn't do a tush push on 3rd and 7. But no, I mean, I agree with you. You are right that it does get conservative. And that was a big thing for me. That was something that I talked about after the first game. The second game, I feel like you just kind of were pounding the rock so well that it was like, why, you know what I mean? Why not stop? Why stop? Just keep going and because we were just dominating them in our front four or our front five when it comes to our offensive line. So why not just keep going? So that one I don't really put on him or on the play calling. I think you just went with the hot hand. But in the first game, it definitely got very conservative, and it got conservative over and over again. It was like every time it would get a little close, they would stop, trying to make big plays. So
That's what I'm
I
saying.
agree with you.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying because that's what it looked like, and I seen it some of that last year too. I saw a little bit of it last year. I'm just telling you what I'm saying, and people be thinking you hating or anything like that. No, I'm not hating. It's what I see, and I saw it again in the game one, and when it felt like the Minnesota game, just like you said, when I watched the Minnesota game, and yes, Drew, it's on TV on Thursday. What am I not gonna watch football? Come on, bro. Like, come on, get real. And when you got a Sunday package, you're gonna watch all games. You feel me?
Facts.
So when you're seeing that Minnesota game, DeAndre Swift was the hot mother sucking hand. You
Yeah.
feel me? He was running all over you. If you have a game where Tony Pollard and them are killing him in the run game, why the hell are we gonna throw the ball? You know what I'm saying? Like we're not gonna do that. You're gonna go with what's hot and what's winning. So I understand that Minnesota game, but it's just something that I monitored and I want to see it again. Like if you guys are playing a team, right? And let's say it starts getting tight, then I'm just going to watch the play calling and see where you guys are going with it. That's all I'm saying, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Tampa's the perfect get right game because they're not that good. And then right after that, we have Washington. So over these next 2 weeks, we should be able to figure something out and get this right. But speaking of what we're seeing, I see 160 people in the chats. So be sure to hit that like, hit that
That like
subscribe. Shout
button,
out to all y'all.
yeah, hit that like button.
Yes, sir. So I do want to talk about. I'm sorry. What you said?
This John said I need new prescription glasses.
Y'all crazy.
Hey,
Y'all crazy.
I'm gonna give it to y'all though. Y'all are funny, man. Y'all say some funny stuff. I can't even lie. Some of the stuff y'all say in here is funny, and I can't lie. It is.
uh, they do their thing. They but obviously the Eagles won, so we don't really have to do a keys to victory for the Eagles. But I mean, if you want, I'll quickly say, the keys to our victory was our defensive line, our running game, and our offensive line. I mean, those three, they held our game. They carried us throughout this game, and special teams looked good. But you guys have the Aaron Rodgers-less Jets.
Oh my God. We're gonna get him. Like seriously, he was the
Yeah,
he was gonna get it like Tom Brady got it on his way out. He would have got it, and trust me, Mike McCarthy. We all were. Mike McCarthy was the first to say, "Yeah, I'm really upset that Aaron couldn't play because we wanted to get that revenge. We know what happened last year in that Packers game where we should have beat them dudes. So yeah, we definitely all want to play Aaron Rodgers. We ain't want to play no damn whatever. What's his name?
Zach Wilson.
Wilson. We ain't want to play no damn Zach Wilson. We want to play him. So we don't want to hear the excuses from all the media. That's all that's sort of going to say. Oh, well, they didn't have Aaron Rodgers. Oh, they didn't have Aaron Rodgers. So
Oh,
we don't
it's
want.
coming.
You know it's coming. So we didn't want to hear that noise. But if I want to get over to the keys of the game, excuse me, they got Breesy Hall, who had a really good game in his last game against the Buffalo Bills. I think he ran for 127 yards on 10 carries, had an 83-yard run. Dalvin Cooks is over there. So really limited those guys in the run game. Stop that run early and often and really make Zach Wilson beat you. He still has a big arm. He is a young player, though. And what we know about him is when you put pressure on him, you saw it in that Buffalo game. He threw an interception. Buffalo was really putting the pressure on him. He gets real skittish in the pocket. So we're looking at that pass rush. Get after him. Don't let him get comfortable at any time. Pressure, blitz. Come after him. and really just shut down that run game. Don't let them get any kind of confidence. Garrett Wilson is a guy to keep your eye on. They got a decent receiving core, but Garrett Wilson, we don't want that little young receiver to get a little hot because he's I think he can be a game changer for their team. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I mean on the offensive side of the ball, obviously let's get in our offensive rhythm early. I like to establish the run game. Tony Pollard, 14 carries, 70 yards last week. Rico Dowdell had, I believe, had 6 carries for about 25 yards. So I want to see a Rico Dowdell get a lot heavily involved in this game. Running between the tackles, they had Quentin Williams. We know about him. They got some young guys who they just got. McDonald from Iowa State. You remember him? Jermaine Johnson is another guy who they had from last year. Was a rookie who is a pretty good player as
From
well.
FSU?
Yeah, from FSU.
Yeah, he's a dog. I didn't know
yeah.
y'all had him.
Yeah, so he's over there as well. So those are some guys that, they got a good front. So let's attack that front, soften them up. We're running on the inside in between the tackles. I think a screen game can be really good with them. So let's get our running backs in space. And then obviously, just like we were talking about Nakobe Dean, the guy who's always injured. Brandon Cook's already got a little MCL sprain in the knee, so we don't know if he's going to be active. But Michael Gallup is there. Jalen Tolbert, who we've been touting all preseason, that he has really stepped his game up, our 3rd-round draft pick last year. We're really feeling real good about him. So we want to see him. I want to see him turn up. But this is a game where our tight ends, they had a couple drops. I think they had 3 drops in between them in that game. People don't talk about that while they're talking about Dak Prescott and his passing yards. Hendershot dropped a touchdown pass. Jake Ferguson dropped 2 first downs, and so did Kevontae Turpin. So that was 4 drops from the receivers. 3 of them were first downs. 1 of them was for a touchdown. So let's not all just blame Dak on that. Let's look at the receivers got to get better.
Dak got to throw it better.
No, he threw it right to their hands. Go watch the tape, like you said. But yeah, I see the tight ends, really working that middle. But let's see. I want to see Rico Dowdell really do his thing, and then Jalen Tolbert and Michael Gallup, those 2 guys, really get involved early. And I really think those are the keys to the game for me.
Yeah, I'm going to say kind of a very similar thing to what I said about the Giants. If they can't get their run game going, if they can't slow this game down, I don't see much of a chance for them. I mean, the Jets obviously have Zach Wilson, who I've never been high on. I made a whole video when he first was in the draft, and I was like, bro, please do not draft this guy. I think he's soft. I don't think that he's a good quarterback at all. But either way, it's not about him.
What you just said, not to cut you off, I just feel like he's a pretty boy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he's pretty. He got the talent. Let me not sit there and say he don't got talent, but they don't have the right attitude, in my opinion. I just think he's real got an air about him, and I could be totally wrong, but just from the outside looking in, I just feel like he has an air about him, Joe, that screams like, I'm just better than people. I'm better than you. And I don't, and I really want us to really humble him tomorrow. I really want us to come in there and really humble him and let him know about this defense in this game. And looking at that game against Buffalo, that was irresponsibility from the Buffalo Bills. The Jets should not have won that game. And Zach Wilson didn't win that game for them. That was the Jets losing that game. Josh Allen, 4 turnovers in that game, 3 interceptions. You're forcing passes that you don't need to do. You guys had a 13-3 lead. You guys were winning the game. You were playing irresponsible football, irresponsible play calling. That's the only reason why the Jets won that game. So let's not look like people are talking about, the Jets defense and this and that. Buffalo was pretty much doing what they want. It's the fact that they started just being, hey, we're going to beat this team. They don't got Aaron Rodgers, so let's just start doing goofy things. And that's how you lose games, and that's why they lost.
Yeah, the Jets, they have an amazing defense. I feel so bad for the Jets. I'm gonna be 100% honest. My nephew,
I don't know about no amazing defense. They have a
good defense. They have a very good defense.
Amazing defense now. Come on, dog.
They're very fast. They're all over the place. I mean, they're obviously young, so I mean, we'll see what happens when they go against you guys. But to do what they did against the Bills, that's not, that's nothing to just side eye.
So that was Buffalo losing that game.
A lot of it was, but they helped them. They definitely helped them. The Jets defense definitely helped them lose.
Dog, they was moving the ball.
Who, the Bills?
Yes.
Yeah, but they were making big plays. The Jets were making big plays. They were getting that pass rush going. They were making big plays. I don't know. I like them. Maybe not amazing, but I think that they have a very good defense and a young defense. So they're only going to get better. Sauce is a God.
Sauce is a beast, but he was getting cooked up a little bit out there by Diggs.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody, everybody has a bad game here and there. I think Sauce gonna go off. I'm really hoping. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm hating all y'all this week. I want y'all to lose.
You hoping he go off?
Yeah, I do. I hope y'all lose, man. I'm so tired of hearing all your fans talk.
We lose, but that's not gonna happen, dog. We're gonna do what we're gonna do in this game. And like I told the guy, like I said in my thing, Cowboys, just play responsible football, mature football, and you'll beat this team. Don't feel the need to have to prove these naysayers out here because they're gonna be like, oh, but you didn't win in this game by this much. Don't feel the need to do that because now the narrative with you guys is because if we don't blow the Jets out or we don't, and maybe we beat them in the last quarter and thing. Yeah, see, y'all ain't that good. But it's a different narrative when you guys are barely winning or you guys are eking out victories. Listen to all the people out there like, well, a win is a win and we're 2-0. So I don't want to hear any noise from you or your fans. You get what I'm saying? When we win, I think it's going to be a big time win. But if we don't, I don't want to hear that noise from your fans talking about you barely beat the Jets. You barely beat the Patriots.
If I was about to say Mac Jones, if Zach Wilson puts over 200, 300 yards on y'all, I'm never letting you live it down. I'm letting you know that right now. Just how y'all talking about Mac Jones, I'm never letting it.
Exactly, Mac Jones. So you can say all you want, but I'm gonna say I'm gonna go right to Mac Jones. Who? Mac Jones. Who?
Zach Wilson is worse than Mac Jones. Way worse than Mac Jones. Way worse.
But it don't matter. The fact is, ain't nobody scared of no Mac Jones.
Hey, not yet. Not yet.
Oh, now
Jones gonna be a beast this year. I'm just kidding.
Ever afraid of no Mac Jones, dog, and you know that.
I do think that the Patriots are going to be a good team this year. Maybe Mac Jones is not. Mac Jones is probably going to be like middle tier, but I do think the Patriots have a pretty decent team this year. Not because we struggled against them, but because I think that they are going to be better this year. Last year, they had a close to top 10 defense, top 10 if I'm not mistaken. And this year, I think that they got a little bit better. Again, not saying that they're going to be great or anything, but just like you said, you think the Giants will have a pretty good year this year. I think the Patriots will figure it out and have a decent year this year. Again, not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl or anything, but I think that they'll be all right.
Line too, because let's talk about your offensive line. Because in 6 games, Lane Johnson done gave up 6 pressures. You know, he's getting. I think he gave up a lot. I think he gave up 6 pressures in the last game, the most on your offensive line. And y'all giving up how many sacks? Y'all giving up like almost 10 sacks in the first 2 games of that vaunted offensive line. Actually, we played against a pretty good defensive line in the New York Giants, and you can't say it's not. Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon, who I told you that was the key matchup, and you didn't hear about him in that game against Tyron Smith. No sacks in that game. No sacks. Very little pressure in that game. We shut that whole line down with Tyler Smith out the game. But when I look at your offensive line, who is vaunted, you have given up a lot of sacks already in those 2 games. Talk to me about that, Joe.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, it's about the team playing together. This offensive line hasn't played that much together. You have a new guard, but there's no excuse, to be real with you. I brought this up, and not a lot of Eagles content creators have really talked about it. I think people were mad that I even brought it up, but between Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson, who are the 2 stalwarts, right, the 2 bookends, the guys that you should feel comfortable with. It was the first game against the Patriots. They combined gave up 10 pressures just between those 2. So not good at all. Not good at all. Lane Johnson obviously has had amazing years over and over again. So as homer as it is going to sound, I'm not too worried. I feel like they'll get it together. I do feel like they'll figure it out, but I can't deny that. That's not good. That offensive line needs to get it together. But again, there's a mixture of so many things when you're playing 8 in coverage. A lot of those are coverage sacks. So it goes on Jalen as well.
You finished. Hold that thought. Drew, you're lying. You just said Joe's team blitz, but didn't you just say y'all was in coverage? Which is it? Which is it, Drew? Which is it, Drew?
Teams aren't blitzing. They blitz. Don't get me wrong, but they're not blitzing heavily. They're definitely keeping more people in.
It was all coverage. It was coverage. It was coverage. It was
It
coverage.
was coverage. We'll watch the game again. We can have a watch party together. They are not blitzing.
We're not here to watch party because I already told you, number one, those two defensive ends from the Patriots are going to get after your boy, and they did because each one of them had a sack apiece. Matthew Judon and Usha. I told you they was going to get after you, and they both had a sack apiece. I told you about Daniil Hunter, and like I said again, he was a top 10 defensive end. He had 3 sacks by himself.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not sitting here lying. I mean, we need to get better at that. I go cap. But I also think that them running the ball, I said this when I was watching the game with my girl, I was like, that makes everybody more confident, right? You know, when you run the ball and you are able to dominate people like that, that makes your offensive line far more confident. That makes your quarterback far more confident. When you can just slow down the game and calm your team down, that's really important. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what it does matter in the sense that we're talking about it, but it doesn't matter what they're doing in the sense of we need to fix it. We can't be that team. At the end of the day, the Eagles have to win. The Eagles have to go out there and find ways to win. And yes, Mr. Rudy Poo, they are playing a lot of zero coverage. They're playing a lot of weird coverage. So they'll play zero coverage. It looks like they're playing man along the whole line, and then they'll drop everybody back. They were playing really weird defenses. And again, I'm not saying that it's an excuse. Huh?
To confuse your quarterback.
Exactly. Yeah, no, they definitely did. But I haven't seen that from anybody. I mean, I watch a lot of different other teams. I've never seen people do that. It was just very weird. And again, no excuse. We found a way to win. We found a way to beat it. But that's what's going to happen. And that's what I keep on saying. At the end of the day, people are going to do everything in their power to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. We are, other than the Chiefs, right? Other than the Chiefs, we are the team to beat. You know, if you beat the Eagles, or even if you have a good game, apparently you're now looked at as a decent team. So I'm not too worried. I really am not too worried. Here's this dude paid $2 to say Jalen Tebow. Your boy Trey Fargo is something else, bro. Shout out to Trey though. I can't even hate on Holmes. He be at most of not all of them, but he be at most of my morning shows. So shout out to him, man. He's always got something to say, bro. But he sent you a $2 super chat.
Trey is your and Drew is mine. Okay,
exactly.
Trey is yours and Drew is mine because Drew just be talking, dog.
But Trey said, excuse me, he said Jalen Tebow is averaging 10 carries a game, RB number 2. Here we go.
He is. I mean, he has the second most carries on your team.
He does. He does. I mean, but that's because also our starting running back got hurt after the first week.
As far as the running back too, he is, and Jalen probably might be your second leading rusher in the season this year.
Trey said he only watched one morning show. You've been to like 2 or 3. You've been to the last 2 or 3 of them because I can pull up the tape because I know I've been talking junk to you, but for the last 2 or 3 of them. But either way. But not. So lastly, I do want to get into the just a record, a final score prediction. I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to be hating here. So I'll let you go first. How you feel like the game's going to go, how you think this is going, what you guys think you're going to do, who's going to win, what you think is the score.
I said that this game was going to be a 24-13 game, but now I'm going to go out there and push it up a little bit more that we go 31-13 in this game. I feel like, Jets might get a little early. No, I don't even think they're going to get something early. I think this is something that they might get a little excitement with a nice run here and there. But I feel like our offense is going to really have a really good game against their defense. People are all talking about their defense and hyping up their defense, this defense and that. And I think our offense is going to dominate their defense. And it's going to be a slow process how we do it. And I just feel like eventually we'll start getting turnovers like we did in that game against the Giants. And those turnovers are going to be how we really get rolling. And I think that's when it starts happening, maybe after that second quarter when we start really putting that pressure on them. But yeah, 31-13 is what I'm predicting, and there it is. A lot. I'm not going to say a lot of turnovers this game, but I think Zach Wilson throws an interception, and he has Michael Parsons gets a strip sack fumble. Definitely.
One person that hasn't made enough noise because you keep on bringing up Micah Parsons is Hassan Reddick. I don't think he has a sack yet. So,
thank you for bringing that up because I wasn't going to let you escape for that. And because I was just looking at it yesterday, and I was like, there was something in my head, and I'm so glad. So that was that mental telepathy. Why you always talking about Drew Mousy stiff? Did you see him bull rush and knock down Schmidt, and that center just run him over? That's what he's there for. He ain't supposed to be no side to side guy. You know that you should know the game to understand that. But anyway, Hassan Reddick has one whole tackle. Now he does, I believe, have 5 pressures
Yeah.
on the unit. Because he had like quite a few pressures in that Patriots game. He didn't do nothing as far as pressure in that Vikings game. But that Patriots game, he had a lot of pressure, but he only has 1 tackle, no sacks. So talk to me, Eagles fans, about Hassan Reddick, because my guy was already looking explosive. Now, I know Michael Parsons is going to turn up against that damn Jets offensive line. So talk to me about Hassan Reddick, Joe first, and then talk to me and give me excuses, Joe, about Hassan Reddick. Give me excuses.
No, I was already in my head. I was already in my head. Like I ain't nothing to say. He got to get better, man. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, he had 5 pressures. He's been getting close. I will say that much. But I also think that the rest of the defensive line is just getting there quicker.
There it is.
I mean, it's the truth. The rest of the defensive line is just eating.
Not you. I'm just saying. I'm sorry. The excuses coming already.
He is hurt. I know that's what everybody's going to say. I mean, he is hurt. But it is what it is. He just got to get better. But I do think that between Josh Sweat, between Jalen Carter, between Jordan Davis, they've just been getting there. Milton Williams is a guy people aren't really talking about. So I want to see Hassan get better, but I think he will. And you know, everybody else is holding him down while he's not. So I'm cool with it. You know, sometimes you got to hold down your teammates. And, you know, right now he's not doing the best, but he'll get it together, man. It is what it is. It's 1 sack. You know what I'm saying? It's 1 more sack. So, but shout out to Trey.
We don't play 1 game, but my guy also has 6 pressures. I think 6 or 7 pressures in that game as well. And you saw how they were double teaming him. Did you go? You guys watch the tape? Where there was a lot of double teams on Hassan Reddick? No, there wasn't. There wasn't a lot of double teams at all on Hassan Reddick. It was a lot of one-on-ones. You feel me? So while y'all talking in the chat, talking about sacks and all that, no, it was one-on-ones. They're not double teaming. They're not triple teaming Hassan Reddick. You know why? Because they don't feel like they need to. Because they're worried about other people.
They got to worry about everybody else, especially the middle.
And that's why I'm saying Parsons is better than Reddick, because they're double teaming him. They're triple teaming him every time. And he was going against a All-Pro and Andre Thomas. He is All-Pro, isn't he? He was All-Pro, went to a Pro. That's the next up and coming. What?
That boy trash.
Thomas is trash? No, you
that
crazy,
whole offensive
dog.
line for the Giants is trash.
No, I ain't talking about the whole offensive line. I said Thomas. He is one of the best young offensive linemen in the game right now. That's what everybody's saying. That's what the tape is showing. And Parsons was working him. And that's why they start sliding protection, start moving that tight end over, started hitting that guard with them, the tight end, the guard, the tackle, everybody. And that's why everybody else ate. Because see, when you got a guy like him, you feel me? Like you might have a guy that has who'll be your player, maybe like Jalen Carter, that he forces other people to block him and open up the game for other people. But that's what we have in Parsons. So don't compare. I'm not saying you, but don't compare no Hassan Reddick to no Michael Parsons, because he don't change the game like Michael Parsons does. Just don't say it. Just don't
Hassan
do
Reddick
it.
Definitely changes the game.
He don't change the game like no Michael Parsons. Period. He's not on Michael Parsons.
Just pure numbers, then
he is not on Michael Parsons level. Period.
If we're looking at just pure numbers, then Jalen Carter is better than Micah Parsons, because Jalen Carter got
they play different positions. They play different positions. My God, your guy plays.
I'm just saying, we bringing up pass rushing, we bringing up sacks and pass rush win weight.
Well, my guy's already generational. You already seen what he's done. We need to see what your guy's doing. He's doing well so far, but my guy's already had the proof in the pudding already.
All right, we'll see what happens. Jalen Carter gonna go crazy.
You're gonna see what happens Sunday, because he's gonna go crazy.
I can't wait. So my prediction, shout out to Trey real quick. He sent me a $2 super chat. Said, you my guy, Joe, just here to support. Appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you, man.
That's what's up. My guys do that. Where y'all guys?
Yeah, they donate. One said they ain't donating to you at all. They mad. They upset right now. But when you start losing, we might, you know what I'm saying, feel a little bit more generous.
We ain't gonna start losing nothing. I can't wait to play y'all, because y'all about to see this, especially that defense. We staying healthy like that. We're gonna see what Jalen Hurts got for it. We're gonna see what Jalen Hurts got for it. Yeah, we definitely gonna see what Jalen Hurts got for it, because we might just sweep y'all this year.
So
I gave y'all the victory in Philly, but we might just sweep y'all.
I doubt that. So my score prediction for this game is going to be that Breece Hall has an amazing game. I think Breece Hall gonna go over he'll probably have 100 yards rushing, maybe another 30, 40 yards catching. I think this is gonna be a ground pound game. I don't think you guys are gonna be able to keep up with them, and I think they're gonna slow everything down.
All right.
I'm just saying, I don't think y'all gonna be able to keep up with him. So I'm gonna go 27-10, and I think the Jets go out there and pull off the victory. And it's gonna be a very good defensive game for the Jets. You know, they're gonna make Dak Prescott make some mistakes.
I don't even use that word capping, but that's big cap. I don't use that word. I don't use that word at all. I'm not with the young words. I'm more of the old school, but I'm gonna use that word they're using now again. That's big cap, Joe.
I told y'all I was going. Hey, I gave you clear and you know what I'm saying, direct. I told you this was going to happen. I told you it was going to be hey, I don't care. Go Jets. Let's go. Jets, Jets. Let's go, baby. But no, I mean, if I had to be honest, I think you guys, I said it earlier, you guys should go out there and dominate. But let's go Jets. I think they're going to shock the world. You know what I'm saying? But I got to get my butt to work, unfortunately. And I did want to say this as well, because we were supposed to go at 10. So we're 1-1 now. You know, one time I was late. This was on James. So I just want to put that out there. Just anybody wonder. We are now tied with lateness.
We're tied. This was on me this time. You feel me? I'm at my girl's crib today. So I'm not on the computer. So I was like, damn, Joe, I got to make sure I got enough, you know what I'm saying, juice on the phone, dog. And he like, all right, dog, but you about to get it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you already
know. My bad. At the girl's crib today, so you know it is what it is.
Yeah, but man, we appreciate everybody in here, man. 160 people still in the chat. We appreciate y'all so much, man. Especially, you know, with the changing time. Sometimes stuff happens. It is what it is. But be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, join the family. And as always, last week we made this bet. I don't know, or not bet, but we made this deal that if you know either of our team loses, we'll come back on here and just eat crow. So I don't know if you're still up for that. You know, if you guys somehow lose to the Jets, if you want to come back on for 10 minutes. All right, there we go. Say less. But you got anything you want to say to these beautiful people before we get out of here?
No, once again, we appreciate all your support from both sides, from the Cowboys side and the Eagles side. Continue to support this like no other. We want y'all to do that. Loving the shows, early morning shows. Get a lot of good Cowboys, Eagles talk. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Like I said, appreciate the trash talk. It's all good, all fun. I love it. I love having a good time. I'll be excited when I know it's getting closer to the week, when I know we're getting ready to do our Best of Enemy show, because we can really talk about the game and talk about so many different things. And I just can't wait till we get to play each other, because that week is going to be crazy. The trash talk is going to be crazy, and then we're going to do the live game. It was crazy last year when we did it. That was funny. Like, that was some fun. It was just a quick story right quick. Joe's girl was like, after we had got done with our live, and my girl did it too. Like, they both literally like did it at the same time. Like, hey, y'all good? Like, y'all doing another show, right? That's like, y'all doing another show, right? And that's what Joe's girl said. Like, y'all is doing another show, right? Because that's how heated it got. That's how heated it got. So that's just kind of funny. So it will get heated, but it will be fun. It will be nothing personal, but it's going to be some good times when those games come up.
Definitely, yeah, I'm excited for it too, man. Especially for health. That's all I want. I want to see Hurts versus Dak.
No. That's the main thing we got to pray for is health. That both of our teams are relatively healthy. So neither one of us will have to hear, oh, but you didn't have this guy or that. You didn't have, because that's the first thing that's going to come out in this matchup. So I want both teams be relatively healthy, especially our dogs healthy for this game, so we can see the real game and make it happen, dog, because that sweep's coming.
I'll get my broom ready to sweep y'all. You know what I'm saying?
The sweep is coming, dog. Coming.
But either way, man, my girl just said, bring the heat, but stay friendly. Well, you know what it is, man. But no, we appreciate all y'all. We will be back next week, maybe earlier if the Cowboys can't handle business. But we will be back Saturday. We look forward to seeing you guys. But other than that, y'all know what it is. I am Joe, and that is James. And we are the best of enemies. Peace.
We're brothers.